Alright, welcome back to the video, guys. This is my US30 1-minute time frame scalping strategy. Using this strategy, I will be demonstrating what I use support and resistance for. Some people use support and resistance to enter. I personally don't. I use it to kind of gauge when to exit a trade. For me, my strategy provides me with some pretty good entries a lot of the time, so there's no need for me to actually use it to enter trades. I use it more to figure out when to get out because the US30 is very volatile and you don't want to really stay in trades too long. Now, there is a new indicator on the chart and I will be explaining that in a second. But before I get to that, for the people who's been asking me questions, all this other stuff, I've been pretty busy this past week. You got to remember, guys, I have a life. I have stuff I have to do. So I won't be able to answer your questions all the time. I took a break this week, so I'll be getting back to everybody by the end of the day at least. So just keep that in mind when you're asking me questions. You're not the only person asking me. There's at least 50 to 100 more people in my inbox asking me questions all the time. Just be considerate. Anyways, this is the PP signal slope directional line 2.0. So what is this? It's pretty similar to the regular one, but it does provide a little bit better performance. So I use this indicator to kind of keep me out of false entries, and it is this one right here. A lot of times if we get kind of a long volatile movement, it will keep me out of something that I could have lost. Like if it's just a rejection, it'll keep you out of those. It keeps you out of a lot of rejections, a lot of false pullbacks, and it's really good. So the settings for this one is 44 and then this right here. And that's pretty much it for that indicator. That's the only new indicator I have. Now, this is in replay mode just because I wanted to do a live testing, but I forgot it was Friday, so I couldn't film that day. Now, scalping US30, I'd imagine you're glued to the computer, so you're going to definitely need to. Okay, so we got our signal right here, and we're just going to get another one so we can. Okay, so let's just say we got in at the next candlestick, which would be right here. Now, when I see this, Lux told me to enter, everything's lined up. Like I said, I don't really use the Lux oscillator. It's just there because it's just there. I don't really use it that much, especially at least on this strategy. I don't. It's not really helpful to me. Now, we would have got in here. What do? You bring out the horizontal line. Why? Because it plots it across the whole chart. No need to stretch it off, do all this other stuff. Now, this is probably the closest point right here. Now, we're going to gauge it probably, I usually like to gauge it right here and then kind of draw a box around it. Now, I don't draw a box too often just because I don't need to. I've been trading long enough where I don't really need to see it. But for those of you who are just starting out, I would really recommend you draw a box. It will gauge your stop, gauge it kind of better. Now we're going to play it right here. Okay. Pause. It's in the box. This is a very good small win. On US30, we all know small wins, you're good. So we get out at this box. Once it hits the box, regardless of if it's going to go up or down, get out, because US30 is very volatile. Because when you're trading US30, you're going to want to look at the US dollar a lot of the times and gauge where it is, because a lot of times where the US dollar goes, the US30 will also go. And if you back test it, you can also see that longer wicks, for instance, like this, will usually call a pullback. It will show you that it probably will pull back after a big wick like this. A lot of times it will go in the opposite direction. So we won this trade right here. This is a win. Regardless of if it goes down, see? Okay, and now it retested our PP signal, which a lot of times it does happen. And we're just going to wait for another entry with Lux. Now, Lux does provide a good amount of entries. So we've already won this trade right here. We got a buy. So now we're expecting another sell. So once this sell happens, we will set up for the next trade. Okay, that was a false one. And here's the real one. So we have a sell right here. It's bouncing off a support and resistance line. There's not too many big wicks, so I'm not really afraid that it might reverse. So once you're looking for a trade, just make sure you look around, see if it's any huge wicks, anything, any huge volatility, because a lot of times with it being just a huge candlestick or a huge wick, it'll go the other way. So we have our sell signal right here. We entered right here. Now, what are we looking for? We're looking for another entry point, because it's obviously not going to just stay over here. I'm not expecting it to go up just because it's giving me a sell signal. So we're going to bring out a horizontal line here, and our next place to kind of gauge is around here. So we have it here, and you see it connects here, here, here. It's connecting. So just make sure it's connecting a little bit, and that's probably the best. Now, like I said, for you beginners, please draw a box. It'll give you a very it'll give you an area where to go, because you don't want to get out at the support and resistance line. You want to get out around it, because if it's been pulling back or reversing from that support and resistance line, you want to get out before it does a big reversal, or, you know, something like that, because US30 is very volatile and it does move really fast. Now, we draw a box. This is our gauge. Once it gets close or into the box, we will exit the trade. Now, we're going to wait for it. It reversed off the PP signal, which is a pretty usual, what it usually does a lot of the times. Okay. Now, we're out. Most likely, I wouldn't have stayed in this trade all the way down here. I probably would have got out once it even got too close to this line, because like I said, you don't want to stay in this trade too long, because the US30 can pull back on you in reverse. Now, after this sell, we're either going to look for a whole new buy, or we're going to look for another buy signal and then another sell signal. We don't enter again unless we have a strict sell signal from Lux. Regardless of what anything says, do not enter unless you have an exact sell signal from Lux, because it will keep you out of a lot of false trades. Now, we're going to play this, and we are just looking for another buy or at least a sell. And you see it does respect this PP signal as a reversal zone a lot of the times. A lot of my indicators are respected by US30, because US30 does have patterns, a lot of patterns actually. So it is just following this, just staying on the support line. And that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty simple. You use this to kind of gauge where to exit trades. Now, don't use this to enter trades. I repeat, do not use this to enter trades. Now, even though this is a good win right here, we're not going to get in that. Why? Because Lux did not send us a signal. Only time you will enter trades is when Lux sends a complete signal. Now, I'm going to exit replay mode. Like I said, me and him have been working on a strategy for a while. And here's a perfect example of what I mean when I say the PP signal keeps us out of false entries. Now, right here, if we didn't have this PP signal right here, we would have lost. We would have lost this trade, because everything lines up. But this PP signal told us to keep out of this trade. And what happens? We saved money. Why? Because we didn't lose. The PP signal is really, really good for keeping us out of very volatile false entries like this, like a pullback. So just beware of that. Feel free to back test it. It performs greatly, like really good. We would have won this right here. We would have got in here, won that. We would have won that. We would have won this right here. If you have a signal like this that's too far away, just don't trade it. Simple as that. Just don't trade it.